Hello there, today is 1888 and I'm going to continue work with the Nids and the slap chop method, so I'm going to be working more on these guys today. And I'm also going to sort out something that's been bothering me with my Robocop. Now, normally Robocop's midriff and his gloves are quite shiny and it looks very dull on the miniature, so I thought I'd add some gloss paint just to pick out some highlights and get some natural light sort of bouncing off it. After sorting out Robocop, I went straight onto the gun gribblies and started to paint their armor and their and the parts of the gun with some orange contrast paint. Once that was done, I went back and painted some pieces on the models that I kind of missed when I painted their skin black. It wasn't exactly clear when I was doing it what was what, so I went out and corrected my mistakes. I then went and painted a bit of brain that is showing purple. And then I went ahead and started to highlight all the red with some Wazdeka red. After the red, I went ahead and highlighted the orange just to make the sort of platelets and things stand out a little bit more with some fire bright orange. I then painted these sort of pipes on the back of their head, some Avalanche Sunset. I wasn't overly keen on that, so then I went ahead and changed it to use some Ienden yellow contrast paint. And then I went ahead and gave it a quick highlight with the original Avalanche Sunset. After that, I then picked out the teeth with a little bit of white. There we are, that's these gun gribblies done. They just need to be based, which I'm going to do this week. I also think Robocop looks a lot better with that gloss as well. Finally, a package arrived from Zavvi containing 2 boxes of Hero Quest expansions, the Mage of the Mirror Quest pack, and something about the Dark Moon, Rise of the Dark Dread Moon. There we go, I can see it now. They're currently on sale for half price, so if you're quick, you might be able to pick them up for yourselves. They've also got others as well. Today is 1889, and I'm going to be painting these Death Leapers. I'll also be painting this Zonothrope looking dude. Lastly, I'm going to start basing all of the painted Nids so far, which is going to take a long time, so I'll start with the Rippers. I'm going to use a grey texture paint to cover the entire base. Once that's dry tomorrow, I'm also going to try a new technique, but for now, it'll just be the initial layer on both these bases. Then it's back to the slap chop, so again, highlighting with grey, followed by the white. And I'll start painting everything with the Black Templar. I'm going to paint it a little bit thinner this time, so some of that highlight shines through a little bit better. As I feel the bigger the creature, the more I'm going to actually have to do a highlight on the black areas. Once that was dry, I painted any claws and hooves, flesh tearers red. The brain parts on the Zonothrope type things, a nice purple. And then finally, start to paint all the armor orange. And that's it for today. The highlighting will have to be done tomorrow, and hopefully I'll also get some more done on the bases. Today is 1890, and I'm going to continue work on the Death Leapers and this Zonothrope. And I'm going to start basing the rest of the Nids that I've already painted. First thing I'm going to do is add a splash of turquoise on certain areas on the guys that need finishing, followed by a quick second coat of purple on the brain parts on the Zonothrope stuff. I'll then start highlighting the hooves and the claws with some Wazdeka red. I'll then highlight the orange sections with some Fire Dragon Bright, which I keep calling Fire Bright for some reason, or Fire Orange Bright. No idea, I'm terrible with remembering names for things. Finally, I will pick out the teeth and some eyes with some awkwardly positioned video, as well as some beautifully in focus shot of my knuckles. With the painting out of the way, I then went ahead and used some mud texture paint to make it, or attempt to make it to look like the sort of organic parts of the Tyranid swarm has burst through the concrete. I will need to go back to the Ripper swarm, however, to put some more sort of urban texture on there later. And after I sorted out the Ripper swarms, I thought I'd do the mud first on all the other gribblies that needed the mud placed on their bases. While waiting for all that to dry, I couldn't go any further, so I thought I would dry brush the final 3 models of the Leviathan box set. I won't be able to get them completely finished, but I will just finish doing the rest tomorrow. So the basing is now underway, and it's just 3 remaining miniatures to, well, I say miniatures, the larger models to do, which hopefully will be finished tomorrow or Friday. Today is 1891, and I'm going to continue work on these big bugs. Yesterday I didn't quite get to finish dry brushing the grey on all of them, so I'll do that first. I'll use a smaller brush so I can get all in the nooks and crannies that my larger dry brush wouldn't be able to reach. Then it's on to the white dry brush. I'm going to do it a little bit heavier than I did on the other models, just so hopefully it'll pick out a little bit more of the detailing and highlights. Then it's on to the black Templar used to paint the flesh, which I'm going to do a very quick highlight with some Corvus black, just to make it stand out a little bit more, because these guys are a lot bigger, and I just felt like they needed a little bit more of a highlight. I'm quickly running out of time for today, but I do have enough time to paint the claws and the hooves with some Flesh Terror red, and I'll use some Volupus pink to paint the inside of the mouth of this big Gribbly. And annoyingly, that's all I had enough time to do today, but we're well underway. It's just the orange to paint and then the highlights, and then those guys will be done. I can carry on with the basing. Today is 1892, and I'm going to get these big Gribblies nice and finished. And hopefully once those are out of the way, I'll have enough time to start basing these dudes. First thing I need to do is put the orange on all of the big Gribblies' armoured parts. I'll then use a bit of turquoise to do certain areas on a couple of them. And from there, it's onto the highlighting. I'll highlight the Flesh Terrors red with some Wazdaka red. And then I'll give all the orange parts a quick highlight with some Fire Dragon Bright. I'll then give the turquoise a quick highlight with some Temple Guard blue. I'll then paint the teeth a matte white, and then I will also go ahead and paint the eyes with Temple Guard blue. And with the painting finally out of the way, I can crack on with the basing. I'll start by using some mud to put around certain parts of the miniatures, again to make it look like the sort of organisms are pushing out of the way through the concrete. And then I'll start texture painting the rest of them with some grey texture paint. I'm going to do as many as I can. I don't have long, but I will come back later on and do the rest today, so I don't spend all day tomorrow just doing that. I'm pretty happy with the way these guys have come out. I don't know why I'm talking like a robot, but I am. I'm quite happy with the way they come out. I'm quite excited sort of getting these guys finished in 2 weeks. There's quite a lot of models. First time I've done such a large amount, and hopefully they will be finished by Sunday. Today is 1893, and I'm going to get all these Tyranids based and finished once and for all. First thing I'm going to do is use some Dawnstone Grey to paint all the rocky areas on the miniatures that have them. That'll then be followed up by some Dryad Bark to paint in sort of muddy areas. I'll then use some Iron Warriors metallic colour to paint any piping or things like that. And that'll all be followed by a mid-tone brown wash. And because the hobby streak cannot stop for any reason, I went outside today and sprayed up some the Necron Kill Team a gold colour. And speaking of Kill Team Salvation arrived today from Element Games, along with the mandatory Sweetie. Once the wash was dry, I then went on to dry brush everything with Ushabti, I think it's Ushabti bone, over everything. I then went ahead and tidied up any black fleshy parts coming out of the floor, and gave it a very slight highlight with Mechanicus Standard Grey. For the slightly armoured parts that are popping out of the ground, I thought I'd paint those guys orange as well, so I gave them a quick coat with Gryph-hound Orange, and I painted some turquoise on these bulb looking things. I then highlighted the orange the same way I did with the armour for the main Nids, and gave the little bulbs a quick highlight with Temple Guard blue. I then painted the flesh underneath his Zonothrope with some nice fleshy colours. And this big Gribbly is dragging a Space Marine's arm into his mouth, so I thought I'd paint it Ultramarine colours. I then went and painted the end of it with a slight pink. I went back to the face just to build up that fleshy looking colour. I also painted the armour around it the same way as I painted the arm. After that, I put a nice glob of blood for the Blood God underneath the head. I also did the same with the arm, apart from I dragged it along so it looked like the arm was being pulled in. So close to the end now, it's just a case of painting all the bases a nice black to tie them all up, followed by adding some tufts of static grass here there on all the bases. Tyrannid Prime's wing popped off when I started to dry brush it. It actually turned out to be a benefit because I could get through all the nooks and crannies. So the last thing I had to do was to glue that back into place. And that's it, that's done. That's all of the Tyrannid stuff done. So new year, new army completed. I'm going to carry on tomorrow with a kill team though. Today is 1894 and I am going to start work on the Necron kill team. I'm not going to be able to get that much done whatsoever today because it's basically going to be waiting on washes to dry. So first things first is I'm going to paint all the gold areas that need to be tidied up with some more Retribution armor or Retributor armor. Anyway, when I sprayed these guys yesterday, it was quite nippy, so unfortunately the spray didn't get everywhere and it wasn't as strong as it could have been. Once that's done, I'm going to give all the gold a wash with Reichland Flesh Shade. So I want more of a rose gold feel on these guys. Annoyingly, that's all I'm really going to be able to do today as the temperature in the flat is quite cold, so the wash is going to take longer to dry. So, as I always like to plan ahead, I thought I'd start the next project, which is the Star Wars Shatterpoint Inquisitor set. But annoyingly, it's going to be the same case as the Necrons. I need to tidy up a bit of the black, so I'll do that with some Abaddon black, covering any areas of the spray mist. And then I will give everything a quick wash with some Nuln Oil. The Inquisitor set comes with this neat little sort of antenna type thing that's almost cut in half. So I'll start painting that silver and then give that a wash with Nuln Oil as well. And annoyingly, that's all I can do today. I'm going to be continuing sort of doing new techniques. So I want to do the Necrons because I'm going to practice some object source lighting on those guys. And I want to paint more of the Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff. I might also do some object source lighting on these guys because obviously they're lightsabers as well. And that's it, that's this week done. I've got to say I'm quite impressed with the slap chop technique now. I've knocked out this entire force in about 14 hours in total, and I'm very happy with the way they've come out. I really like the way it worked, and it's something I'm definitely going to use in the future for sort of more organic creatures and horde monsters, like in things for Hero Quest and whatnot. And it's left me very impressed with the slap chop technique. Next week I'm going to try object source lighting. As I said earlier, it's something I haven't really ever sort of delved into before. I've done it a couple of times, but not that much. But it's a new year, so it's time for try new techniques. If you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you join me next week to watch me struggle.